Icon Radio. This your boy Larvell S. Witt. Then you got your man Floyd over there. Floyd.
What's going on? This is your boy Floyd. He's in the know.
Welcome back to another week.
Yes, sir.
You know, once again, I always like to say, we're going to start off with some Trump news.
Oh, my God.
We're going to leave it alone today.
Yo, please do.
January
Yes.
20th, 2021. That's it. I'm done.
Can we say, like, January 19, 11:59, p.m. or something, or 12 a.m. or something like that?
Something.
Okay,
We're going to get into some more prevalent news today. Floyd, who do we have on the show today?
Oh, my gosh. People.
Y'all just don't know.
Man. All right. So we have the lovely Victoria Williams.
Hello, how's it going, Friday?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Awesome.
Welcome.
Yes. Yeah, turn them. Okay.
There you go. All right.
Yeah, there we go.
And then, sorry about that. We have to make sure you get the mics right. So introduce yourself. Thank you for coming on the show. We're glad to have you.
You're welcome. My name is Victoria Williams. I am a mom. I am the social action chair for Delta Sigma Theta's Tempe Alumni chapter.
All right now.
Hey.
Okay.
Involved in a lot of different nonprofits here in the Valley, and I work for American Express. As we shared earlier, the views I express tonight are not that of my employer, but I am more than happy to talk about the wonderful things that Steve Squeri is doing at our company. But hey, I'm just here to let everybody know you can make a difference and
Yes.
get
Awesome.
involved. Yeah.
And I love the sorority.
Thank you.
Yes, fraternity man myself, Prince Hall. But yes, we have a lot to say about the sororities, fraternities, especially sororities. Kamala Harris.
Hey.
Can I wait? You did your sorority. You did your fraternity.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
gonna do my fraternity.
All right.
My fraternity is Floyd Ellis.
GDI.
There you go.
Florida, I gotta put my hat in there.
There you go.
No, but the sororities, they came out and showed up.
Yes.
Showed out. I think I said it backwards, but they
Showed
showed
out.
showed up,
Showed
however
up.
you want to say it.
Like
I
we
knew
do.
that was gonna happen.
That's what we do.
They were afraid of that vote. They were afraid of everybody should be afraid. Going into social injustices, if we could come together, if we can unite on every front, no matter what it is, instead of going against ourselves, fighting ourselves, light skin, dark skin, rich, poor, or you live over there in the burbs, I'm from the city. Stop it.
Yep.
Stop it. Because people hate us. All of it. Don't matter where you at, who you are, if you're Republican, Democrat, they hate us.
Yeah.
So, now, did you have some questions?
Yes. Well, first off, Miss Williams.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you are no stranger to the community. Okay. And so what is your purpose in the community? What do you feel you should be doing?
I am trying to do the things my mom and dad taught me. My personal story is my mom and dad adopted me and my sister out of an orphanage in Germany. So, like you said, everybody hates us. In Germany in the 1960s, they didn't want little brown children around. So, literally, we were in an orphanage. I was 5 months old. My parents, through their interpreter, found out that I had a sister. And not only was she mixed, but she was born with a physical disability, so she was in the back room.
Okay.
And she was considered unadoptable. But my mom is a 6-foot-tall sister from South Fulton, Tennessee.
There you
and
go.
she said there's no such thing as an unadoptable child. So she met my sister and ended up adopting both of us, my mom and dad did. So they always taught us to live the platinum rule, to do unto people as they would have you do unto them. So beyond the golden rule, right? So how do I want you to treat me is what they taught us to think about when we talk to people. And they always instilled in us volunteerism. So we've always volunteered since we were little kids, whether it be in the soup kitchen, Toys for Tots, packing up stuff, whatever. And when I got divorced 6 years ago, I really decided to take the time that I had as a single person now and kind of listen to Paul, the Apostle Paul, and said, if you're going to be single, do it right? So really got involved in the community. I've been involved with Valley of the Sun United Way Women's Leadership Council. I was a Woman of the Year a few years ago.
Awesome.
I'm involved in the African American Women's Circle for Empowerment and Giving, the Black Philanthropy Initiative. But I've been a Delta for 31 years, so pledged undergrad, and we're all about social justice. That's the reason why I love my AKA sisters, but that's truly the reason why Delta became of the sorority, because back in 1913 we wanted to be involved in the women's suffrage movement, and our other sorority sisters didn't feel that that was something that they wanted to get involved with. So we wanted to march, we wanted to fight for the vote for black women to be able to vote and women to vote. And so that was what was my passion when I was in college, and so I was made at U of A down in '89, UADA. So
Okay.
just giving back. I'm not anybody special, but we can all make a difference. And I think whether you make a positive difference or a negative difference is up to you.
Oh,
And so
That's true.
Man, that was
That's
deep.
true.
That
That's
was
true.
deep.
I mean, because look at it. It starts with us. It starts with me. Starts with you. Starts with her. It starts with any one of us.
yeah,
You know.
individuals.
So I mean, you just got to put that step foot forward and make it happen.
Because I hate the ones that be all over social media, not even just social media, just talking. And it's like, well, you know what? We need to do this. We need to change this. What you gonna do? No, sir, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I didn't see you in the community. Yeah, what are you doing to help out? Things like that. That's why we do, like myself, NAACP, with fraternities, we actually get out into the community and actually work.
Right.
Now, when somebody tells me what you do, well, you know what? Let's go through my
Go to my resume
You
here.
already know your calendar. That's what you really got to look at, the
check the
calendar.
Rolodex right quick. No, but I hate to hear stuff like that. Like, someone told me, and I think this was the best thing I ever heard was, you want to talk about voting and what they should or should not do. If you're not a registered voter, then you shouldn't be saying anything to me right now, because your word doesn't count because you're not registered.
Yeah. I became a U.S. citizen in 2002, and I've been voting ever since then.
There you go.
Yeah. And sometimes I vote, I ain't gonna lie, sometimes I vote Republican, but I vote for people and their principles, which is how it should be,
See, and that's what I'm talking about, and that's what we were talking about that before. It was like it doesn't matter what party it is, it just matters of what they stand for and what they, if you believe in what they're doing and what they say they're going to do, then by all
and
means.
then you got to hold them accountable.
That's with anyone, Yeah, you got to, Our kids, if you got kids, hold you accountable, So,
True.
so hey, this man. But there's a question though. Okay. It's in your opinion, do you believe that literature can serve as a vehicle for a social change?
That's a good one. I happen to be a huge James Baldwin fan.
Okay.
And Ta-Nehisi Coates. And literally, I'm a nerd, so I was listening to NPR on the way over.
Right here. Big one.
Listening to, and they were talking about the fact that, they made a play of his latest work, his letter to his sons. And now they're actually putting it on film.
Oh.
And just the impact of African Americans, blacks who have positions of power, being involved in that project, I think it's going to be impactful, because when you look at the injustices that we've seen this year worldwide, I mean, I don't know if you guys talked about it yet, but there was an incident down in Brazil that's caused an uproar, because today is supposed to be their day to honor people of color, the slaves that were brought down to Brazil, because actually there's more there than there were here, right? And there was a man who was beaten by an off-duty police cop and police officer and a store security guard, and they beat the man to death. And it was all caught on the video, right, at the store. So people were up in arms. So they're having their own George Floyd moment. And it's not just us anymore. Our friends, our allies are finally, coming to the table and seeing that, look, we've been complaining about this for decades, and we keep complaining and no one's listening. But now the whole world, you've seen the marches worldwide, so I think the tide's turning.
But that one I didn't hear about,
Yeah.
actually. But there's so much that is not on the news that happens. But they say that the revolution is going to be televised, or it's not going to be televised.
they won't.
Well, it is. It's not like we want it to be, but and I think it is enough just to create a conversation like we're having right now.
Some awareness.
It's awareness, and that's what's happening right now. It's like they're getting a little glimpse of what we've been going through for so long, and y'all just getting a little glimpse of it. But some people still act like they don't care. It's like, I hate when people say there's no such thing as systemic racism.
Well, it doesn't help when we have the Morgan Freemans and Lil Waynes going on TV.
Come on
and
now.
saying, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Whole nother conversation. But yeah. See, I grew up, my background, I actually grew up in white suburbia. It's like my parents, my dad was the first African American firefighter for the city that we grew up in. So it was like a lot of politicalness. My dad met the president, Clinton, the first black president. No, I'm just kidding. He met Clinton. So it was a lot of politicalness in that. But just, overall, just where I grew up at, I saw it early. Like even when I was a teenager, I'm driving around, and because my parents did okay, that's not my fault. That's them. That's their money. That I had a nice car, and so I'm getting pulled over just because I'm driving in a nice car. Are you sure this is your car? You know what? Check the name. And then getting pulled over. I remember one time I'm in a car driving around with a friend, and we're dancing in the car. I think I was about 17 or 18. We're dancing in the car, getting it, and I get pulled over talking about we was throwing up gang signs. Wait, are you serious? That's how y'all be getting people. I see how y'all be getting people. Y'all be trying to throw stuff on us. But that's why we're talking about social injustices. We should not have to prove that we're 10 times better just to matter. That's my thing out of it. We shouldn't have to prove it.
We shouldn't have to, but we do. I mean, everybody's had that talk from their parents.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's
we have to be the ones who work 100 times more just to make things happen, just to prove that we do fit in, that we do that we are able to make a change, because of our background or wherever if you didn't.
You try to be a good-looking woman too. It's even worse. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Especially if you're black. I mean, it's true. I mean, I think the biggest benefactories of affirmative action were Caucasian women. And while we have some allies there, it's still a concern, because I'm going to tell you, when I first came out of college, I was able to go to a home office of a company I was working for at the time, the Hartford, and those guys were I'm just putting it out there, the VPs that I was talking to were more concerned with my looks until I mentioned I was a merit scholar. And they were like, oh, damn, she's smart too, and that's the first time they started listening to me about anything, no lie. I mean, we all have to work harder. We got to be smarter. We got to show up on time or early.
Right.
No CP time.
Not CP time, right?
You got to dress like your next job. Because I'm going to tell you, working in corporate America, that's something my mom always told us. Make sure that there's no room for anyone to try to, put any kind of a mark against your name. So,
right, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said it that way, because now I gotta go apologize to my mama. No, but we went through the same thing. Like, she didn't want me to have the earrings in the ear, don't wear the braids, don't wear the chains. And I kept saying, well, my boss, he wears earrings. Well, you know what? That's him, and he can do that. As an adult now, obviously I got teenagers. You see what it is now, but back then it was like, but why, Mom? But we need to be more aware that unfortunately we have to do those type of things. But I was talking to Floyd about this earlier, and I wanted to bring it up because I wanted to see your views on it. Because we could talk about social injustices in healthcare, we could talk about it in schooling, we talk about everything. But a lot of people don't realize is, well, I guess you should realize it, is property, living, housing.
Did you see that video on Instagram?
Wait, what video is this one?
Oh my gosh, an African-American woman who I think she was an attorney, and she was married to a Caucasian artist.
That was the one, yes.
And their home valuation, when she was there and met the appraiser, it was appraised at $300,000. And then she realized what had happened, and she took down all the pictures of her and her little mixed-race son, and kept all the pictures of her white husband and their white family. They had it appraised a month later, and it came back at $465,000.
Whoa.
So she's talked about just the angst and the way she felt of having to remove herself from her home and her son. But she said to realize that she devalued her property by $165,000 just hurt her heart. Yeah.
Just for being black.
Just from being black.
That's what I was trying to tell you about earlier. Yeah.
It's, hey, I'm telling you, I've sold 2 homes with my ex-husband, and we did that. We made our house impersonal, took down all the family pictures, because you have to be aware that there are going to be discriminatory practices in every aspect of our life, sadly. And we just deal with it. People with privilege, they never have to think about it, so they don't think it exists. I have Caucasian friends who grew up poor who goes, well, I don't have white privilege. I'm like, well, you do, you just don't realize it, so I'm with you.
That's the ones I don't like, the one that don't realize it. It's like, yeah, you kind of do.
So they just walked up in it, huh? It's like, it's just there.
No, they think they got there by their own hard work. They don't realize they had Caucasian privilege. and being able to enter the rooms that they were able to get into. Or I don't know if you saw Dr. Robert Livingston at Harvard. Brother, he shared recently at American Express a study where they were talking about even resumes, how we have to, whitewash our resumes.
Yeah.
They can have the same experience, the same education, and we won't get that opportunity. And in fact, white males who were incarcerated as felons were 3 times more likely to get a call back for an interview than an African American without a felony.
Wow, I didn't know that, but I believe it.
Isn't that? I mean, so you can be a Caucasian and have a felony on your record and get
Still
a
get a
call
better
back on a
job.
job, and 3 times more likely to get called than a person of color who doesn't.
Oh my God.
Because once we go to jail, that's it. I've tried so hard because I have 2 teenage sons. Like, look, you don't want those kind of problems. I'd rather you be an L7 than out in them streets. It is what it is. You don't want those kind of problems. You don't.
Oh man.
Because once you have those kind of problems, it follows you. You can't get rid of it. And it's like the system is already built against us, which is not built for us to see. They already have a 400-year lead on us, even as far as just wealth. Family generational wealth. Like, we're just coming into the game. Like, yeah, you got that 1-3% of African Americans that actually did come from old wealth, but it's so few.
Yeah.
It's so few. It's not a lot.
Man. So it gets, when you say that and you start thinking about stuff like that, it's like, what can we do to change that status quo? What is it that we can do?
We have a huge purse that we misspend. We buy clothes we don't need. We buy clothes we can't afford.
Like,
Cars
come on
we
now.
can't afford. We got to get the newest whip when it comes out and get a new iPhone every year when it comes out.
Man.
It's an issue. So I'm going to say this. My kids are set. They know they're going to have capital when mom passes away. We own homes. I paid my car off. I'm, the first new car I bought in a long time, and I'm like, I'm not buying a new one ever again, But financial literacy is huge. We need to do a better job, I think, in our community. And it's something that I'm working on right now with American Express. Me and a young lady out of Florida are semifinalists for an innovation project we have, and we're hoping that it
on
does
it
well.
now.
I'm gonna speak. I'm
Yeah,
claiming in
there
Jesus'
we go.
name, right? And we're presenting that. I don't know if y'all remember when I was a kid, like the insurance companies, like the Allstates and the State Farms, would be in the Black community, right? And they'd always be at the different MLK things or what have you. But I think that we not only need to invest in the Black community financial services companies, but we really in the community need to invest in those future card holders. The one thing I do love about the company I work for is they have charge cards versus credit cards too. So they used to only have charge cards. So I would tell people, handle it like you do your checking account, right? Only buy what you can afford to pay off every single month. And if we could do that, I think we'd be in a better position, because the debt in the African American community is for things that are not going to be helping us so much in the future. Not only do we have the highest student loan debt, but we got the most risky debt out there. And it's because, people are afraid to go to Walmart and buy some cheap little tennis shoes that are cute, I have no shame. I'm like a bargainista shopper, and
I have never bought Jordans. I don't wear Nikes.
No.
yeah.
No.
Even though, my parents did pretty well. I can't, they still shop frugal. But I've never owned Nikes. Like, never.
Yeah.
It doesn't appeal to me.
So when
But
you
them
see
Adidas
Shaquille-
joints, though.
3 stripes. So.
Now, before you go into that, because I wanted to say, while you're talking about financial literacy, I'm a victim of that, unfortunately.
Oh, we all, a lot of us. I
Yeah.
again, I was in college. I had stupid debt back in the day. You learn.
Oh man, I learned. I'm about at the end of it now, 10 years later, and I'm finally almost out of it. Okay. No, but I was married, same thing, went through a divorce, but I actually had really good credit back then. That's the one thing I'm glad my parents did do. I had really good credit. I messed it up. That was me. I had at one point, at a young age, I think it was only 22, 23, and I had two $10,000 credit card limits.
That's good.
Right? But my dad, since he worked for the fire department, what happened was he started us off having a credit union at about 16. So by the time I was 18, I bought a house when I was 23. Then I went and bought 2 cars, which I shouldn't have done. Married and stuff. Then I got my credit cards, and then
Divorce. It's tough.
yes, hardships, divorce, and it was just all that gone. But I wish somebody would have told me, don't do too much too fast. Trying to, yeah, you can do it. You can do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. So, reel it back a little bit. But that's that literacy we need to be, pass on to the next. You know what? That's what we need to talk about. When we're in school, that's what they actually need to teach us. They don't teach us that in school. Like, they try to teach you how to, like, balance a checkbook or something, but it was like, they kind of, like, skated on it. But I'm talking about actual what we need, financial, what we need to know, credit cards, credit, things like that.
Budgeting,
Yeah, that's what need to be taught in the schools. At least that's what I think.
Well, I know. I just haven't done it, but I know.
You know what? While we're talking about that, another thing that we need to break the cycle of, because I was a victim of this too, and I think every African American has went through it. We like to kick our kids out at age 18. Why do they all? Why do they? What is it? They like to kick their kids out at 18.
Okay, now with that though, I can see that.
Like, get out, hurry up.
It's like one of those things that you grown now. I ain't gonna take care of no grown people. You ain't gonna live in my house. Or it can be.
But what if they're going to school? What if they're working?
You grown now. You can go on out there, But on that, but see, the way that they were raised back in the day when they said that, some of them, was like, yeah, you can go out there, get your own place, be your own person, do your own, have your own rules and, stuff like that. Today, well, some parents, like me, stuff, I'm like this, you going to school, you trying to make better yourself and everything like that, hey, you can stay as long as you need, just to, and
Do
all
what you
that.
gotta do.
Right, save up, do, and all that, then once you get to that point that you say you ready and stuff like that, then hey, by all means.
That's what Asian culture does. That's what East Indians do. That's
Mexicans.
what most it's a collective culture that everybody's helping each other to get ahead.
Oh, yeah.
And we and I don't know if it's just the American individualism, but I'm with you. My kids, I'm like, as long as you're doing the things you need to do, you can stay here. I got a 4-bedroom house for a reason. I mean, it's just me, but I have 3 kids, 3 adults, 21, 23, and 25. And the oldest, I'm 21, 23, and 25.
I know, right?
I got 24, 21, and 10.
All right. Oh.
Yeah.
I just got 2 teenagers.
But we don't do that enough. You're right. We try to kick them out the nest like a bird, right?
I already told man, like, no, look, y'all either gonna go to school, you're gonna work, but I'm not sitting here. I'm not gonna put you out at 18 like I was. If you got to stay here to get on your feet, save your money.
Buy a house.
That's exactly what I told my son. I was like, I do not want you to leave this house and go get an apartment. You should not leave this household and go live in an apartment. You should be able to go buy a house, and if you want to have roommates or even rent it out, that's on you. You own that.
Yeah.
And you move or do whatever, or sell it. But I don't want you leaving this house going to an apartment. Yeah, no, it's just not happening.
Hey, that's how we train them.
But this got to be the generation.
It is. It is. And how I speak to my kids when it comes to, especially my daughter, the oldest. She speaks with me when it comes to like the financing, the money, and all that. And when because I've always taught them, to do right by your money. Okay, and you save. As much as you can, and then don't be going out there spending all crazy, because, women, they get to a point they want to go spend.
Did he just say women?
That's what he said.
So.
I think that's what he said.
And then.
But it's true, though.
You know what I'm saying?
See, Floyd, my kids are just the opposite, but go ahead.
But yeah, but yeah, she go out there and she's so responsible. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, this
More than you were, huh?
I'm like, is this really my child? I'm like, wow.
I feel that about my youngest. Like, you really came from me. You're so good. Then look at the oldest one, like, oh yeah, okay.
When your mom and dad were threatening you, know.
Like my dad now, to this day, like anytime I have some type of issue where I come to him about it, first he laughs, has a nice little chuckle about it. Then he goes into the seriousness and tells me, how to. But it's always, yeah. Now you see how it feels. Yeah, you like that, huh? So like, and he'll laugh at me too. Like, yeah, I remember you said some stuff like that to me too. So
That's crazy. But I do want to get into do this one question here.
what question is that?
Well, okay. Do y'all remember the whole situation about platinum, when the government was trying to do that platinum plan
Oh yeah.
and stuff like that?
Oh, with Ice Cube.
What do you think about that?
What do I think about Trump's agreeing to the platinum plan?
I'm mad that they call it the platinum plan. To me, that was disrespectful in itself.
I know, right?
Platinum.
Platinum is worth more than gold, so I'm not mad about platinum, but it's just more empty promises. I mean, if we could get investment from corporate America and the government to right some of the wrongs, I mean, it'd be great, but we have to be responsible, I think, community-wise, to call these people that we elect to office to do the things they say they're going to do. Politicians work less than us. Y'all know that, right? Like their schedules, they don't work that much at all, and they get paid really well, and they get welfare, and they get health care, and all the things they want to deny us, sadly, are things that they benefit from. So everybody knows Trump is a businessman. They know he's a transactional person. He made it really clear before he became president that he, liked to pay people and then would call them later to, come through on promises because he had paid, help fund their campaigns or whatever. And he was going to be that kind of president. Now, we know that 70 plus million people think that he walks on water still, but those of us who see the horrible person that he truly is, understand that the only thing that's important to him is himself, his money, and that's it.
That's it.
His brand. So,
His debt.
well, I just know there are a couple of attorney generals who are going to be coming after him on the 20th of January. So,
And that's why he's so afraid to actually leave office. And that's why, okay, you know what? I
no
actually,
more immunity.
no more immunity. I had saw something, and I took a snapshot of it because I thought it was like the most truthful thing I heard. You know why Trump is so pissed about Biden winning? Because he had it rigged. The postal service was fixed. Certain people were paid off. Russia was helping out. Some governors were delaying mail-in suppression votes, and the race was close enough that it should have worked, but it didn't. Unlike 2016. So what I got out of that was they're trying to claim fraud, voter fraud, cheating, all this other stuff. But the people that are actually cheating are the ones putting it all into the courts. But he got everybody believing, and
That just blows my mind.
Just blows my mind how you got all these people believing that it's the Republicans and or the Democrats, or even the fact that someone else is invading the voting system. They came out and said that this was the most secure because certain thing has happened in the past. And so they worked hard to eliminate, not saying that there is nothing that happens, not saying that there's instances that happen. Those are like 1%ers, not even a 1%, such a minute percent that actually happens. But yet he's saying it's just all out this, that, and the other.
It's
No,
rampant.
the
There's
person's cheating.
200,000 people who are dead who voted. No, it's all kinds of, it's just propaganda and lies. But again.
So I've always said this about the Republicans, or at least, no, I shouldn't even say Republicans, Trump supporters, because there's a difference. There is a difference to me between Republicans and Trump supporters.
Okay.
There is a handbook. It seems like all of them read, because every time I talk to someone that's a Republican or Trump supporter, it's like talking to the same person, whether it's just someone out on the streets, a friend, someone actually sitting in office right now. It don't matter. It's the same handbook. And then when I started doing this. So every time someone posts something that's, talking about the Democrat or the Republicans, and they try to do news sources, I started going and Googling their news source, where they got it from.
Posting back.
Yeah, and I screenshot it and I posted back to him like, so this is a conservative right-wing news site, or this is a conspiracy news site. Like, are you seeing where you're actually getting your news from? I need reputable sources before you talk to me. I don't want you to put something on YouTube that you saw.
Parlor. You know.
That's been blowing me. Like this one guy, and he's a politician, or he's striving to be a politician, and it's like he keeps trying to come at us with these facts, and it's like, bro, I'm looking at where you're getting your news source from. You're trying to run for office right now, but you know, we're gonna talk about that later. I'm just not gonna get it. Also,
anybody can run for office.
Anybody.
As long as you meet the citizenship criteria.
obviously, Trump taught us that. You know, I think something that Trump said is going to be true. He said that after him, they're not going to let anybody else in like him. I think that's very true. I hope not. Right.
Yeah, they've already said it's not going to be nothing like that.
He taught us that.
And it might be a while if anyone even go that direction anyway with the Republicans like that because of what he has created. So,
everybody trying to say that he's gonna run again. He can't.
2024.
He's going to be a convicted felon by then.
So good luck. And this is why he's trying so hard.
But see, and that's what the pardon comes in at, you know, because he's trying
Pardon himself.
He can't do that, though.
He's trying to pardon his family, and he's trying to get himself pardoned.
He better hurry up.
Yeah. So,
And you know they're not going to do any of that till he leaves office, just for that purpose. So,
and that's what the person from the attorney general the prosecutor from New York was saying that once January 20th come and stuff, then she's going to prosecute. So,
I would do the same
the girl
thing.
is smart.
I can't wait for Kamala to get in office. It's like my thing with Kamala. I know a lot of people are leery about her past or because she was a prosecutor, things of that nature. My thing about it, I actually love that. Now, granted, of what she did or what she, who she locked up, I like the mindset that she has of law, and she understands it.
People always bring that point up, but they forget about the programs that she instated to reintroduce people to the community. And the people who she let out of jail, who they found, had no reason to be in there anymore. So they always focus on the one and not the other. You got to look at the full picture when you look at anybody. So
right.
I have a lot of respect for her. She's a East Indian and black woman from Jamaica, and my ex-husband is Jamaican, Punjabi Jamaican. So my little brown girls are like Kamala. They're little East Indian, African, Jamaican, European, mixed girls, So there are a lot of brown girls who see her and they see the possibility of things they can do.
Yes, that's the one thing I love. It's like the representation. We have now representation of not only a female, but of, like you said, of descent, color. One of us is now sitting in one of the highest offices in the land. You too can do it too. Representation.
You too can do it too.
He's got a new tagline.
Right? You too can do it too.
On the Larvell and Floyd show.
Speaking about the Larvell Floyd show, don't we have any other news that we needed to get out there first?
Oh, before I forget, yes, that's right. Yes, there it was. There it is. Okay, but yes, no. All right, y'all know we are in the process of getting all kind of people to chime in. Contact us, aznknow@gmail.com. Talk to us then on Facebook, social media. All the sites on that. And we're always looking for sponsors. To come in and help us out on that, support our radio station here, and our radio show here, and yeah, hook us up. All right.
I just want to make sure you got the, got to do the commercials.
Get that plug in.
Got to do the commercials. But I had checked out, because we were talking about social injustices, because I wanted to, myself look into it, and they said for 2020 at least there was 9 that were more prevalent. But it's all the same thing. So it was climate, voting, refugee crises, racial injustices, hunger and food, gun violence, and equality. All those were what's happening to us now as far as African Americans or black people in America. But what got me was the gun violence. So it's not just the fact of us shooting us, but we also have to worry about them shooting us. So it's like no matter what, we're almost in a lose-lose category. And we either do it to ourselves or they do it to us. But my thing is, when they do it to us, why is it that we make that so much worse? Why do we make that so much of an issue when we can't stop ourselves?
We got to be accountable. You're right.
I've never been able to understand that. Like a police officer will shoot, someone, but then Tom or Jaquin, whatever you want to call him, he go shoot at a guy and shoot a baby, and you really don't hear nothing about it.
Because they don't care. They would be happy if we killed each other.
Mm-hmm.
They would have no problem with that, right?
Right.
And it's sad because when we grew up, back in the day, if you had a beef with somebody, you take it outside, you exchange words or fisticuffs,
Right.
whatever, and you just went on about your way, and you were cool later. That's why I'm a tomboy, and that's one thing I used to love about guys. Guys can be irritated with each other. They can have a beef, and then they forgive each other. They let it go normally, like it never happened before. But with
Women,
when we started introducing, or when the government started introducing drugs into the black community, and the redlining, and
Yeah.
just people feeling desperate and having that kind of feeling of hopelessness, they just start not caring about themselves. So it's tough. Homelessness impacts us more than any other population. Drugs, gun violence, and the irony you're talking about, things that impact us is, the opioid and drug, the prescription drug crisis is now a mental health issue, and it's something that's being addressed by the government.
but we were crack babies.
No one
Totally
cared about
different.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So that's that difference that it will always be there that they'll try to put on us. Like when we like what's been happening with riots. When we go out there and protest, we're rioting. When they go out there and protest,
with their AK-15s.
they're oh my!
Okay, speaking of that, did y'all hear about the what's the
Kyle
the
Rittenhausen.
yeah, how Ricky Schroeder bailed him out?
The actor Ricky Schroeder?
Yes.
Yes,
Oh my gosh.
paid his
Paid his bill.
Was it $2 million?
It was up there.
That's some money he wasted then. Good for him. Because that boy's going to jail.
Yes.
Yeah, he is.
For the rest of his life. Hopefully.
Man, I was like, when I saw that, I was like, what is going on?
He just needed some attention. People need that 15 minutes. So Ricky Schroeder ain't been in the news
He ain't been relevant a little bit there.
a couple of decades. But yeah.
Wow.
Wow, I did not hear that.
Yeah, so that's pretty much sums up my next question I was going to ask. But we've talked about it. It was talking about, do we have choices concerning fairness and justice?
Choices? Or
Choices.
we always have choices. That's the one thing that we've all had since Adam and Eve, the ability to choose and a free will. And it's sad that I think a lot of people in the inner city, because Chicago, of course, with the worst gun violence, people
Southside.
they just don't see a way out, and we need more people to go back into the community and show them it can be done, Again, I'm a little black girl who should have been in an orphanage, and I can tell you, I lived in Germany for 13 years. I'm so thankful that my mom and dad did not leave us there in that orphanage, because my life would have been a whole
Yeah.
lot different than it is now, so people just need hope.
And that's why I okay, this is just a little thing. That's why I like AZ and the No, because what we bring is like more for the black community, because we are the voice for the voiceless. We out here, in the community, trying to get what's going on, not just with we talk about everybody, but we want to focus on the black, the African American, the ones out there that's doing something that nobody else is talking about.
Yeah.
So once we out there, and then it's the kids out there, they're doing stuff. They're out there and running. I don't know, 4.0. On the track or something. Got the Kumi Baladi, whatever how you say it.
Oh, cum laude, graduating with 4.0 GPA.
So it's those things that that we celebrate, because you acquired a higher standard for yourself. You're doing something better for yourself, and that's what I like. I like that. I like that whole outlet of that. Just being able to go out there and reach the community.
I miss the '90s when it was popular to go to
Showcase it.
college.
You know what though? I don't think everybody needs to go to college.
No.
I mean, trade schools, you can make good money as a
Right,
journeyman or a
right.
plumber or electrician,
That is
and
true.
college is not for everybody.
That is true.
Student loan debt.
Oh my.
I'm just telling you, I have a family member, super bright, ended up going to Phoenix College. She's going to be paying that debt off until she dies. So I told
That
my
don't make no
kids, get a
sense.
scholarship, go to the military, do whatever you need to do, go to community college your first 2 years of school, save some money, right?
Exactly.
I mean, I'm lucky. I had full ride scholarships for undergrad and working at American Express. I think my master's degree cost me $2,000
Wow.
over over a 2 year period. So it was nothing for me.
I need to go work for American Express.
But a lot of companies do that. So we think you got to go to college first. There are a lot of corporations that have tuition reimbursement programs. American Express is not the only one. There are so many that do. So we need to understand that it's okay to work full time and go to school part time. It's okay to go to community college or to a vocational college, trade school. We don't all need over $100,000 in debt.
No.
And that's exactly what I told my daughter. It's like, cause she went to Grand Canyon, and I was like, when I was looking at those those numbers on there, I was like, oh my gosh, this is I don't know, but thank God, everything worked out, and everything, and then she graduated with, in her time, she graduated, and what 4 years? Yeah, 4 years.
That's good because a lot of graduate in 5.
Yeah, so she graduated in 4, and then, so I was really happy. I was like, hey, the only thing, it was the third was her junior year. Well, her freshman year, I was like, just. Then her sophomore year, that's when it started. It was like, okay, yeah, this is getting a bit too much. But then her junior year, I was like, when are you going to be done with this? And
He's Russian.
but then her senior year, I was like, okay. And then I was like, you going to be done? She was like, yeah, I'll be done. In May, when May came, she was like, yeah, no, December came. I was like, okay, cool. So it was awesome. She
That's
graduated, and it was
Papa.
great. Yeah.
See, my oldest was like that. She was valedictorian at Sandra Day O'Connor High School, where she went to school. And so she got into like 8 different Ivy League colleges. And I was like, look, we helped you. We prepped you for the SAT and all that stuff. But look, you're going to have to go where the scholarship money is. Because I'm not going to pay for Ivy League college. And so she got a little partial scholarship to one. And I'm like, I'm not going into debt for you. So she ended up at U of A. Graduated in 4 years, 0 debt when she graduated.
Nice.
Awesome.
Because me and her dad had planned for each of them. We set aside money for each of them, but it wasn't going to pay for a 4-year degree. But too often we put that, big shine on the undergraduate degree. It's more important where you get your graduate degree. So go to community college, go to a state college, go to wherever you can afford to go without having a lot of debt. That's what I tell people. But
Wouldn't that be one of those things of choices?
choices, yes. I mean, you have to think about choices for your future. So, yes, you can have a degree. I've got my master's degree from Grand Canyon, but remember, it cost me $2,000 for a master's degree from Grand Canyon. And I went undergrad at state schools, University of Maryland and University of Arizona. And again, graduating without debt. It makes a huge difference because you're setting up your future.
Right.
Because a degree is a degree. A corporation doesn't care where you went to school as long as you got that lambskin and they see you were dedicated enough to stick it out for the 4 years, 5 years, right? Because you're going to, when I went out of college and got offered a job at the Hartford, I was making just as much money as somebody else who went to a more prestigious school rather than a state school. Because we were all new. We were entry-level employees. So they paid more for their degree, and I had 0 debt, and we were making the same amount of money.
Wow.
That's what you have to think about. We have to make wise choices. So gratification delayed, those kinds of things. We need to teach our children that as a part of the financial fluency, that literacy we were talking about, right? Save your money, invest your money. I reached $1 million on my 401k a few months ago.
Awesome.
I'm 52 years old, right?
Oh wow. Okay.
No, you're
And-
not. Stop
That's what I
lying.
was.
Stop
When
it.
she said, I'm like, oh wow. Okay.
Right? Stop,
Y'all
stop
cute.
lying.
I like to say, even high yellow don't crack if you take care of it, right?
Okay, no.
So, but we don't teach our kids that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's all, like we were saying, it's about the shoes, about the clothes, about the kind of car you drive. I have a Kia Optima. It's a 6-year-old car. It looks good. It runs well. It's maintained. We need to teach our kids to think about capital
Right.
versus, you know, having the newest thing, because that's what's going to create that wealth and shrink that gap. Because a poor white kid has more family generational wealth than a black kid with 2 well-off parents. You know, you could have 2 professional professional dad, but if they don't have that idea of capital and wealth creation for future generations, then you're going to be back at square one. That is, I don't know. So I'm sorry. I don't know if I got a little passionate.
No. You said I got my hand up here like, hey,
I was tuned in. You know, I'm like, okay.
You know, so I don't. That's just me. But
that was dropping some jewels and some knowledge that we need to hear about.
You know.
But before we get out of here, because we only got 5 minutes, I know you mentioned something about a gentleman at the that did something at American Express.
oh, you're so cute. A gentleman who did something. So most people know our wonderful former CEO, Kenneth Chanel, and he was a great man. When he retired, he literally shook everybody's hand, and he chose a kind of a choice to replace him for CEO of the company was not one that a lot of people saw coming, because he chose the Jersey boy who was just really down to earth, authentic, shoot off the cuff, you know, kind of speaker who wasn't super polished. And I can tell you that Steve Squeri has really made me happy and proud to be at American Express. Because when I first came to Amex, I used to tell people, you know, we got diversity right. We have a lot of people of color at American Express. I said, but inclusion and equity were things that always were a concern for me as a black woman. And he has chosen, especially since the George Floyd incident, to really make sure that American Express is a place where we have a sense of belonging, and where not only are we a very diverse corporation, but that we have people at the higher levels who represent our populations, and also that we have equity across salaries, that we have equity across opportunity. And he listens. I mean, the man, if you shoot him a email, he will respond. I've actually gotten email responses from his cell phone, you know, because he's probably, you know, doing something important. But he's just really focused on making sure that it's a place where you can bring your whole self to work and know that you're going to get paid as much as the mediocre Caucasian guy who's doing the same job you're doing, right? Because I truly believe, you know, when Michelle Obama said that the only difference between us and men in power was that they had those connections, and nepotism worked for them. So yeah, it's a great place to work, a good place to be, but more importantly, we're looking at investing in the black community. They've got, if you go to AmericanExpress.com for small business, there are grants that they're giving to black owned businesses now, and they're doing education. We have a business summit every year, and Shaquille O'Neal and Serena were there, and they were sharing how they are business people. So I'm just encouraged, because I think it might not be government that's going to help us go around this curve and make a difference. It might actually be corporate America.
Wow.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see how that plays out. We have.
Some good information.
That's why you tune into AZ to
Man.
Know only on Icon Radio every Saturday between the hours of 6 and 7. But make sure that y'all tune in between 5 and 6 for the sports segment with Dre and Go City Say It Loud Sports. You see how I did that there, right?
Yeah, I
I
see
heard
that.
y'all.
See, you know, because this is one show that has a different variety of different shows within its show.
You have an entertainment segment with A-Love, with Pop Talk.
So we have different ones. So I'm happy about that.
Make it spicy. Keep
You
it
know.
keep it different.
But thank you so much for coming in. We do appreciate you. Thanks for all the information.
Oh,
Can't wait to have you back. Definitely come back.
You're so sweet. Thank you.
man.
Yes.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much. Great to meet you
Awesome.
guys finally. Because I follow you on Facebook, you know.
Yes.
So when I tune in, so
'Cause
it's
when
nice
I-
to meet you in person.
Yeah, because like when you told me who it was, and I was like, wait a minute, we're already friends. I was like, I've seen her before.
You
I've seen her before.
did.
Like, we're already friends on
I said, well, you get to see her in person now.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming in.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh man, thank you.
Gon' get through this. Gon' fight through this. Gon' live through this. Gon' love through this.
We yell power to the people, the mouse to the steeple. Melanin royalty, fighting for what's equal. Stay woke, stay
Through
woke.
this.
Stay woke. We shout love one another, my sister, my brother. Blessings to the true fathers and real mothers. Stay woke, stay woke. Stay woke. They tried to kill our seeds, but we will still grow. By any means necessary, we stay woke, stay woke. Stay woke. Stay woke. They know our power is valuable, tell us to vote. But rob our communities, they the ones